For most of human history, sailors came home with stories no one believed. A creature so large it could pull a ship under. Eyes the size of dinner plates, tentacles longer than the mast, a beak that could shatter bone. Scientists laughed. Poets wrote about it anyway. Norwegian fishermen carved it into wood. The ancient Greeks called it Scylla. The Norse called it the Kraken. For 2,000 years, every culture that lived near the sea told the same story. And for 2,000 years, science called it a myth. Then, in 2004, a Japanese research team led by Tsunemi Kubodera lowered a baited camera 900 meters into the Pacific Ocean off the Ogasawara Islands. They waited. They lowered it again. They waited. And then, on the screen back on the boat, something moved. 8 arms, 2 feeding tentacles, a body the length of a bus. It struck the bait. The camera captured the first images ever taken of a living giant squid. The monster was real. Most people assume the ocean is mapped, that the age of monsters ended somewhere around the invention of the telescope, that everything large enough to matter has already been cataloged, filmed, and placed in a museum. The science says otherwise. More than 80% of the ocean has never been explored by humans. The average depth is nearly 4 kilometers. And in that darkness, something has been hunting for millions of years without ever being seen. Its name is Architeuthis ducks, the giant squid. Here is where it gets interesting. For most of its existence, we only knew this animal from what washed ashore. Dead specimens rotting, torn apart by scavengers. The first serious scientific description came from Danish naturalist Japetus Steenstrup in 1857. He collected fragments, he measured beaks, he estimated dimensions no one at the time believed. 14 meters, longer than a school bus, a single eye the size of a human head. He was ridiculed. The idea of an animal that large, living in secret, was considered fantasy. Steenstrup was right about all of it. The strangest part is where this creature actually lives. Most sea life clusters near the surface where sunlight fuels photosynthesis. The giant squid does not. It hunts in a zone called the mesopelagic, the twilight layer that begins around 200 meters down and extends to 1,000. Below that lies the bathypelagic. Total darkness, pressure so intense it would crush a submarine, temperatures near freezing. This is where the giant squid feeds. This is where it fights. And this is where the only true predator it fears comes to find it. The sperm whale. Marine biologist Malcolm Clarke spent decades studying the stomachs of dead sperm whales. He was looking for beaks. Squid beaks are made of keratin, the same material as your fingernails, and they do not digest. Inside a single sperm whale, he sometimes found thousands of them. Some were enormous. Some belonged to squid larger than the whale itself. And on the skin of nearly every adult sperm whale, he found scars. Circular, ring-shaped, the exact size of giant squid suckers. The whales were coming back with wounds, which meant something down there was fighting back. But that is not the strange part. The strange part is what the giant squid can actually do. Its 2 feeding tentacles can extend to nearly twice its body length in a fraction of a second. On the ends are clubs lined with hooked suckers that grip like barbed wire. Its eyes are the largest of any animal that has ever lived, larger than a soccer ball. Neuroscientist Dan Erik Nilsson at Lund University in Sweden calculated that these eyes evolved for one specific purpose, not to see prey, to see the silhouette of an incoming sperm whale in near total darkness from over 100 meters away. Think about what that means. This animal is not a passive drifter. It is a hunter that hunts hunters. It sees a whale before the whale can echolocate it. It positions itself, it waits, and when the moment comes, it fights back with a beak sharp enough to cut through cable. Marine biologist Steve O'Shea, working out of New Zealand, spent years searching for a living juvenile giant squid. In 2001, he finally caught one. It was 7 millimeters long, almost invisible, Under a microscope, it already had all the features of the adult. The two elongated tentacles, the massive eyes, the predator's beak. This is a creature that emerges from the egg already built for war. And it grows fast, from 7 millimeters to 14 meters in a few short years. Here is where the science becomes harder to explain. The giant squid has no bones. It is essentially a soft body wrapped around a small internal structure called a pen. And yet it survives at depths where the pressure would liquefy most vertebrates. Its blood is blue instead of red, using copper-based hemocyanin to carry oxygen through frigid water where iron-based hemoglobin would fail. Its brain is donut-shaped and wraps around its esophagus, which means every time it swallows, food passes through the middle of its brain. This is not a fish. This is not a whale. This is something older than either. Cephalopods, the group that includes squid, octopus, and cuttlefish, split off from the rest of the animal kingdom over 500 million years ago. Before spines, before jaws, before the first fish. They evolved a completely separate solution to the problem of being alive. Their nervous systems are decentralized. An octopus has more neurons in its arms than in its head. Its arms can taste, decide, and act independently. If you think of intelligence as something that lives inside a single skull, the cephalopod design breaks the rule. And the giant squid took that design into the deepest, darkest, coldest waters on Earth and thrived. But there is one more piece to this story, and this is where it gets stranger. In 2007, Japanese fishermen off the coast of Antarctica pulled up a squid so large it made the giant squid look small. It was 10 meters long, but heavier. Much heavier, nearly 500 kilograms. Its arms carried not just suckers, but rotating hooks. Its eye was larger than a basketball. Marine biologist Steve O'Shea examined the body and confirmed what a few researchers had suspected for decades. There was another one, Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni, the colossal squid, larger than the giant. Heavier than the giant, more aggressive than the giant, and so poorly understood that only a handful of complete adult specimens have ever been recovered. Its arms are lined with 360-degree rotating hooks. Its beak is the largest of any known cephalopod. It lives even deeper than Architeuthis in the freezing waters around Antarctica, in a region where the ocean drops to more than 3,000 meters. There is now credible reason to believe that when ancient sailors spoke of the Kraken, they were not describing one animal. They were describing a family of animals, some of which we still have not seen alive. Here's the deeper question. How did we spend 2,000 years watching the ocean and never once catch this creature in the act? The answer says something uncomfortable about the limits of our perception. The giant squid does not want to be seen. It lives below the reach of sunlight. It does not surface unless it is dying. It moves through water without leaving a wake. It has no swim bladder to catch on sonar. When it wants to disappear, the ocean absorbs it completely. It has been sharing this planet with humans for as long as humans have existed, and the first time we filmed it alive was 2004. In the entire history of our species, that is a moment ago, and the ocean is still 95% unexplored. Marine biologist Edith Widder has spent her career designing cameras that can film in the deep sea without the bright lights and loud engines that scare animals away. Her invention, the Medusa, uses a soft ring of red light that most deep-sea creatures cannot see. In 2012, off the coast of Japan, working with Tsunemi Kubodera again, her camera captured the first high-quality footage of a giant squid in its natural habitat. It came for the bait. It circled. It struck. You can see it online. A creature humanity spent 2,000 years arguing about. Real, moving, alive. There is something worth sitting with here. For most of history, the people who believed in sea monsters were considered fools. The sailors, the fishermen, the old women in coastal villages who told their grandchildren not to swim at night. Science dismissed them. And then, one by one, the monsters they described started showing up. Giant squid, colossal squid, frilled shark, oarfish, megamouth shark. Creatures that were called impossible until someone finally caught one. It raises a quiet question. What else are we still dismissing? Because the ocean is deeper than any imagination, and the creatures we have already found suggest that the ones we have not are stranger still. Somewhere right now, thousands of meters below the surface, a giant squid is drifting through absolute darkness. Its enormous eye is scanning for the silhouette of a whale. Its tentacles are ready. Its beak is ready. It has been ready for millions of years. It does not know about ships or cameras or the humans who once thought it was a myth. It only knows that in the deep, something is always hunting. And so is it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more videos like it. See you in the next one.